Hi and welcome to Yin in 15. I'm Annchen from Yin Yoga with Annchen. Today's sequence focuses on digestion. I'll be talking you through and guiding you through 3 of my favorite poses to help with abdominal cramping or bloating. I'll be showing you for each pose 2 or 3 alternatives so you can adapt the pose to your unique body. And for this sequence we will need 2 blocks. Okay, so let's get started. So the first pose is a squat. So separate your feet and come into a squatting position and place your hands in the prayer position. If you find this challenging, it could be because of tightness in your hips. So bring your feet slightly apart and check if that's more accessible for you. Otherwise, if you find the tightness in your ankles, you could take 2 blocks and place them behind your heels and see if that makes it more accessible. Okay, so please just choose the option that suits you best, and we're going to be here for 3 minutes. So bringing your hands into prayer and then just trying to relax first of all, focusing on your breath. So this pose is wonderful, firstly because it releases the lower back. So if you think about your daily life, we sit and we stand and we walk, and the lower back never has a release, it's always compressed. But in this way, we are allowing the lower back to be released. And secondly, of course, we are opening. It's a nice gentle open for the hips. And of course, I'm sure you can feel that we're also strengthening the ankles. In this pose, we are also working what we call the stomach and spleen meridians in traditional Chinese medicine. So the stomach and spleen meridians are connected not just with the physical food that we absorb, but also the stimuli, the messages that we surround ourselves with and we absorb every day. Now slowly bring yourself down and stretch out your legs. Oh. This is what we call the rebound pose in yin yoga. And it's often the pose where we notice the sensations in the body. Sometimes when we're in the pose, we don't realize the effect, we don't feel the effect of the pose until afterwards, until we are in the rebound pose. So we usually stay here for a minute, just to allow the body to absorb the effect, assimilate the effect of the pose on our body. So let's move now to Sphinx. Sphinx is the second pose where we're becoming lying on your stomach. So bring your elbows slightly in front of your shoulders. And first of all, just check in with your lower back. If your lower back feels uncomfortable, bring your elbows further forward or simply lie down on your stomach, because this is a nice back bend even if we are lying on the stomach. If it feels okay to be in this position, you can also bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. And if you would like to experiment with the blocks, you can use the blocks to rest your chin or to rest your head. So whichever option you find accessible or suitable for you, please go ahead. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. And so the first thing to notice about this pose is the opening of the front of our body. Relax the muscles in your legs and relax the lower back. Your gaze could be forward, as I'm doing here, or you could be looking slightly down. As the body is moving upwards and opening up, this is a really good time to check in with the breath. Notice how the breath moves from the lungs across the stomach, and the compression of the abdomen on the mat should help with stimulation of the internal organs, particularly the stomach. So breath in yin yoga is such a fundamental part. Particularly if you suffer from anxiety or stress. When we practice yin yoga, we trigger the calmer nervous system in our body, what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the nervous system which is triggered through deep, slow breathing. And it helps to calm us down. So when you find yourself caught in a cycle of worry, constantly trying to preempt the future or constantly examining what you should have done or you should do, just try to focus on this very simple aspect, which is breathing. Bring the attention to a breath which is slower and deeper. And as you do so, you'll notice that the body becomes calmer, and at the same time, the mind is more tranquil. Slowly bring your torso down, placing your head on a pillow of your hands or simply on the mat. Relax your shoulders and your arms and enjoy the feeling of relaxation throughout your body, and particularly in the lower back. Now slowly turn your head to the other side and continue to enjoy this delicious relaxation. Noticing your breath. Now slowly place your hands in front of you and push yourself to a seated position. So from here we're going to move to the last and perhaps my favorite of all these poses. This is the one that I possibly use the most. It's called the Reclining Child's Pose. And what I love about this pose is that it gives you the same benefits as the seated child's pose, but it's more accessible to many people. Because some people, when they do the seated child's pose, they may feel problems with the ankles, with the knees, and perhaps even with the abdomen. So with the reclining child's pose, we get the full benefits of the pose, but without the discomfort. So reclining child's pose, please come to lying on your back. Bend your knees and bring your knees towards your chest, hugging them towards your chest. So this is option 1. If this option isn't accessible for you or you find it uncomfortable, simply open your knees with your big toes touching and just hold on to your knees, noticing that your back is flat against the mat. The sacrum is not lifting up, the back is flat. Once you've chosen what suits you, I'd like you to relax into this pose and we'll be here for 5 minutes. So just notice if you have your knees close to your chest, this is a really nice compression of the stomach and the internal organs. When we have digestion issues, compressing the internal organs is one of the best ways to help with any cramps or wind or any abdominal discomfort. If you, however, have your knees out to the side, you will feel more of a stretch in the hips because this is actually a nice, gentle hip opener. So whichever option you have chosen, just pay attention once again to the breath. Notice the movement of your breath. Notice the movement of your abdomen against your thighs. And if we return back to the theme of breath, and also the theme of the stomach and spleen meridians, which are concerned with meridians that go from between the stomach and the spleen. And the stomach and the spleen, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are connected with not just the food, the physical food we absorb, but also the ideas, the messages we surround ourselves with and we absorb. So there's 2 things to think about here. One, do we provide ourselves with nourishing food? And secondly, do we provide ourselves with nourishing stimuli, with messages from our outside environment? Positive, encouraging messages or upsetting, violent messages? Because these type of stimuli also affect and can feed and increase any worry or anxiety that we have. So while you're here, just take a moment to consider your nourishment. How are you nourishing your body and your mind? So apart from the lovely compression that you should be feeling of the internal organs or the opening of the hips, this is also a delicious stretch for the back. And it's a great way, it's actually a great pose to get into if you do feel any pain in your lower back. If you've been perhaps walking or standing a lot, it's also a great pose. So very slowly now, just straighten out your legs and relax. Noticing the sensations in your body. Perhaps a warm sensation around the back area. Your breath calmer. Your body more relaxed. And your mind more tranquil. So bend your knees and slowly bring yourself to a seated position. So thank you very much for joining me in this sequence. I hope you feel that it has had a beneficial effect on your body. Remember, if you have digestion problems, you can repeat this whole sequence or simply choose one pose that suits you and that you feel has an effect. Remember to breathe, and through breathing we can help to renew and to heal our body. Take care and see you next Friday for the next sequence. Goodbye.